Hello guys, today we are going to learn about how to make a GUI calculator in a Python. Okay, so today we'll be use a module named Tkinter, and this package contains different fields, objects, and functions to make a GUI program like this. So first we'll import all the modules from this Tkinter package, and then make a variable named expression, and this variable will be a global variable that will take the expression from the calculator and solve it. So this will be marked as a string variable so that we can make use of all the numbers and the expressions all together in one go. Okay, then we'll make the main program to make a GUI. First we'll create an object of Tkinter through Tkinter constructor and name the object as GUI, and then we'll use the configure function in Tkinter through the object of Tkinter named GUI. So this particular configure function is used to configure the overall container in which we will be placing our code container for GUI. Okay, so this will look like this. As you can see, the background color is light green. So this is this frame in which all the components are there and everything is there is called as background. Okay, then in this container we will add different elements, and each element will have their own functions. Okay, so as I have said, I configured the container as its background light green. Okay, then we'll set a title for our container. As you can see, the title here is simple calculator. So I have written here simple calculator in the title. Okay, so it displays over there. Then we will use the geometry function. This geometry function is used to define the shape and size of the window. We will put the dimensions like 270 pixels into 150 pixels for a calculator container. Okay, then we will use the equation as a string variable. Okay, then we will use the function named string var, and this string var is used to take the inputs. So first we will use an expression field. This expression field is like where you will put all your equations. Then through entry function will allow the user to enter the expressions. In the entry function we have two parameters. First is for GUI object like Tinker object, and then there we will write GUI, and the second one is for the variables that we will be using in the field. Like if you want to use a text variable, then we'll write text variable and then write the variable name. They said that is equation. Okay, in the expression field we will use the grid layout manager. This layout manager will place all the components in a particular grid. Like we have the Excel sheet and we have different cells, so we will define the position of each and every objects for the container to be placed. Like if you want to place a button, we'll just define its rows and columns in that particular field, and that will place it in that cell. Okay, so that is the use of this grid layout. We have many different layouts, but here we will be using a grid layout. Then we'll place buttons so that it more looks like a calculator. So in the button, we'll name the button as button 1 and use the button functions from the Tkinter functions. And in this we'll have different parameters. Like first parameter is for the object of Tkinter, which is we have named GUI. Then we have the next field as text. In this we will place the string which we want to display on the button. Okay, so here I have written 1, so that it displays that the button which will display 1 on its element. Okay, then FG mark as a foreground and BG marks as the background. Okay, so foreground means the text which will be displayed on the button, and background means the background of the element. Then we will use the command parameter. In this command parameter, we will be using a lambda function. Lambda function, as you all know, it is an anonymous function, but here we have used a function named press, so that callback function become easy. Okay, then we will define the height and width. Like I have decided the height for every button as 1 and width as 7. Like you can see here, the width is 7 and the height is 1. Okay, and then we'll place the button on the grid, and with the grid function I will place the row and column value, so that will be placed on that grid. And going to the press function, we'll see that we have defined here the press function, and we have passed the variable num. This num variable will take all the numbers and the values which will be giving to the expression. Here we'll like explicitly take the expression variable as global, and then we'll set expression as expression plus string of num. Like we will be placing integer values through the function, so we'll be taking as string, so we'll put the str function. Then we'll use the set expression to make it a whole. Okay, then we'll repeat this process multiple times, like number of buttons we want, like all the 10 buttons, and placing them in the rows and columns and giving them the same height. I prefer giving them the same height. If you want to give them, you can just change the values here and there. And in the press function you should pass the variable or number we have to pass. Like if you want to pass a plus, then you should type plus in the strings, and if you want to pass a number, then you pass a number. Okay, then all the fields will remain the same. You can decide the foreground and background color as you may like. Then after placing all the buttons like plus, minus, multiply, divide, clear and decimal, we will just move on to the next point. Remember, in the clear, we will just type clear so that it will clear the command. Okay, so here after this we will type GUI.main loop, that will mark as the starting. Okay, starting as in the starting of code that you will get, and this will mark as the starting. It will repeat the calculator program till we want. Okay, then we have different functions, and these functions will help us uh, calculate the expression. In this we have this equal press. Then in this equal press function, we'll just use the values of expression and calculate it. We have made a different function as such because we have to use try and except to handle all such errors while solving the expression. Here we will import the global expression variable, then create a different variable named total, and here we will be marking as the function str and eval function will evaluate all the expressions and all the things which you have placed in the field, and then give out the result in a str form. Okay, then we will put the equation set total, and we'll put expression is equals to empty plus the total value. Okay, so that it will not repeat that same expression again and again. It will take the resulted expression and then do further expressions. Okay, so here we'll type it. The expressions which have errors and exceptions are like dividing 1 by 0 and placing a number in place of string and placing a string in place of number. Okay, so from here, if this try will have the all the values we will be solving and we will be working on, and this except is used only when an expression which will contain a wrong value or wrong expression, like having 1 divided by 0, like, okay, which will give our exceptions. So in case of exception, we'll just give equation dot set is equals to error. So we'll place the error keyword, yeah, error one the we want. You can place your custom like failed and many more. I prefer error because it's common in calculator. So we place the error label on the equation, okay, with the help of set function, and then we'll mark expression as empty so that the previous expression will not reoccur in our next functions. Okay, then here we'll make a clear function. This clear function is used when we press a clear button on the screen so that it clears all the values of the expressions, and it will mark it 0 empty. Okay, so we'll import global expression variable, then place expression is equals to empty, and then set the empty value on the equation. Okay, so here after doing this much, we will get the result as the calculator. And in this calculator, as you can see, uh, we have this equation field here, which we have defined. Then we have that entry field for text variables. So here we can write text variables entry, and then we have buttons, like all the buttons we have made 1 to 10 plus minus multiply divide equals to and decimal. Okay, and here we have the use of lambda, as I said that press function occurs. So when I press 8, then it returns 8. When I press 1, then this press function is called and 1 is placed here. Okay, then if I do any functions like plus 5 and then equals 2 will mark as the result. Okay, then I take you here, you can see equals. I have placed the equal press function we have made here. As you can see, it handles all errors and solves the expression. And then this clear function, as I either placed the clear, this clear function called the clear function which I have defined above, and mark the expression as empty and equation set as empty. Okay, so this will make, like, if you want to do any calculation like 5.4 into 3 will give out all the expression in decimals too. Okay, so now that you have learned how to make a GUI calculator, you can make it by yourself. Have a good